You don't talk about it. Not out loud. Maybe not even to yourself. But it's there. That whisper that shows up at night. When the lights go off and the noise dies down. That uneasy feeling behind your smile. That knot in your chest when people praise you. Because deep down, you don't believe it. It's the fear of not being enough. Not good enough. Not smart enough. Not attractive enough. Not talented enough. Not lovable enough. Just not enough. You try harder. You do more. You wear the right clothes. You say the right things. You achieve. You perform. You pretend. But no matter what you do, it still finds you. Like a shadow. Like an echo. Like something stitched to your skin. You wonder if anyone else feels this way. They all look so confident. So sure of themselves. But the truth? Most people are just better at hiding it. Because this fear is quiet. It doesn't scream. It whispers in the spaces in between. When someone cancels plans, you wonder if it's really about you. When you fail, even a little, it says, "See? I told you." When someone loves you, you brace for the moment they leave. It's not always loud. But it's always there. And it shapes your life in ways you don't even notice. It's the reason you don't apply. The reason you don't ask. The reason you settle, stay silent, say sorry too much. It's the voice that says, "Don't try too hard. You'll just embarrass yourself. Don't get your hopes up. You'll only be disappointed. Don't be too much. Don't take up space. Don't let them see the real you." And you listen. Because somewhere along the way, you started believing it. Maybe it was something someone said. Or didn't say. Maybe it was the way they looked at you. Or didn't. Maybe no one ever told you that who you are right now, even in your flaws, even in your failures, even in your mess, is already enough. But just because you've lived with this fear, doesn't mean you have to keep living by it. You don't have to prove your worth. You already have it. You don't need to be perfect to be loved. You just need to be real. And if you're willing to face that fear, not run from it, not bury it, not fight it, but face it, that's where healing begins. That's where this story begins. No one is born feeling not enough. A baby doesn't worry about whether it's lovable. A child doesn't doubt their worth until someone teaches them to. That fear? It's learned. It's passed down. It grows in silence, in stares, in the things that were never said, and the things that were. Maybe it started small. A teacher who made you feel invisible. A parent who loved you, but only when you achieved. A friend who turned cold when you showed your true feelings. A sibling you were always compared to. A breakup that left you questioning everything. It doesn't take much to plant the seed. Just enough moments of rejection. Just enough pressure to be someone you're not. Just enough praise only when you performed. You began to believe it wasn't safe to be yourself. That love had to be earned. That belonging was conditional. That your worth had a price tag, and if you couldn't pay it, you'd be left behind. So, you adapted. You became the overachiever. The people pleaser. The perfectionist. The one who always smiles, always says I'm fine, even when you're not. You built walls and wore masks, thinking they'd protect you. But they only made the fear worse. Because deep down, a question kept echoing. If they saw the real me, would they still stay? And because you were never quite sure, you worked harder. You hid more. You may not remember exactly when it started, but you remember how it felt. Like you had to earn every ounce of approval. Like love was something fragile, something you had to protect, not something that protected you. Like who you were wasn't quite enough, so you became someone else. But here's the thing. The fear of not being enough wasn't born in truth. It was born in pain. It's not a reflection of who you are. It's a scar. A story. A survival strategy. You didn't fail. You adapted. You survived the only way you knew how. And now, slowly, it's time to unlearn. To realize that the version of you you've been hiding might be the most lovable one of all. To understand that your worth was never meant to be measured by productivity, popularity, or perfection. To stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start remembering, you always were. The fear of not being enough doesn't always scream. It whispers. It shows up in the smallest moments. And over time, it reshapes everything. It affects the way you speak. You say sorry when you didn't do anything wrong. You downplay your ideas so you don't sound arrogant. You laugh at jokes that hurt you, just to keep the peace. It affects the way you love. You give too much, even when you're drained. You stay too long in places that make you small. You confuse attention with affection, and affection with proof that maybe you're finally good enough. It affects your dreams. You don't try. You settle. You make excuses. You tell yourself, "I'm just being realistic." When deep down, you're just scared to fail, because you think failure would prove the fear right. This fear doesn't just sit in your head. It shapes your choices. It decides who you date, who you trust, what you pursue, what you abandon. It makes you ask for less than you deserve. It convinces you that it's safer not to want too much, love too much, hope too much. But the truth is, this fear, this quiet belief that you are not enough, is stealing your life. Not all at once, but piece by piece. It keeps you playing small, staying quiet, smiling through pain, accepting crumbs and calling it a meal. It makes you build a life you don't even like, because you didn't think you were allowed to build the one you wanted. But here's what you need to know. You don't have to be anyone else to be worthy. You don't have to earn your place. You don't have to shrink to be loved. You don't have to prove you're enough. You just have to remember. Because the moment you stop trying to be enough for everyone else is the moment you finally become everything you were always meant to be. Healing doesn't happen all at once. It begins quietly. Not with a big breakthrough, but with a small pause. A gentle question. What if I'm not broken? That question is the crack in the wall. The first bit of sunlight. The moment you stop believing the fear and start listening to yourself. Here's the truth that changes everything. The fear of not being enough isn't the problem. Believing it is. You're not healing from being worthless. You're healing from ever thinking you were. The fear didn't come from nowhere. It came from people who couldn't love you the way you needed. From a world that told you your value had to be earned. From moments you were too young to understand, but not too young to feel. So healing doesn't mean fixing yourself. It means unlearning what made you forget your worth in the first place. It means catching the voice in your head that says, "I'll never be good enough. I'm too much. I don't matter." And answering it with something stronger. That's not my voice. That's my wound. I am already enough. I don't have to earn love. I am lovable by being me. It means showing up for yourself on the days you want to hide. Sitting with your feelings instead of stuffing them down. Letting yourself take up space without apologizing for it. It means surrounding yourself with people who remind you of your light. Not just when you're successful. Not just when you're perfect. But when you're real. Honest. Human. And it means being patient. Because this kind of healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days, the fear will come back. But here's the difference, now you'll see it. You'll know it's not the truth. It's just an old story, one you're no longer choosing to live in. That's real power. Not the absence of fear, but the courage to not let it define you anymore. Let's get something straight. Self-worth is not confidence. It's not ego. It's not walking into a room and thinking you're better than everyone else. It's walking into a room and not having to compare yourself at all. Self-worth is quiet. It's steady. It's the way you treat yourself when no one's watching. The way you speak to yourself after a mistake. The way you hold yourself when life falls apart. It's not built through praise or applause. Those things feel good, but they're external. They fade. They come and go. Real self-worth stays. And here's the paradox. You don't build self-worth by proving anything. You build it by realizing you never had to. You are not valuable because of what you've done. You are valuable because of who you are. Because you breathe. Because you feel. Because you exist. But let's be honest, the world doesn't teach that. It teaches. Get the grades. Win the game. Look perfect. Be liked. Earn money. Don't cry. Don't be too much. So of course you started to believe that your worth was conditional. Of course you felt like you had to perform just to be accepted. But now, you know better. You know that external things can't give you internal peace. You know that chasing approval never leads to real connection. You know that no amount of success will feel like enough if you still believe you're not enough. So you start small. You start by being kind to yourself, not just when you succeed, but especially when you fall short. You start by setting boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect the parts of you that were never protected before. You start by trusting your feelings. Listening to your needs. Believing your story matters. You stop asking people, am I enough? And start reminding yourself, I always was. Because the goal isn't to become someone else. The goal is to come home to yourself. You've run long enough. You've tried being perfect. Tried shrinking yourself. Tried chasing love, success, approval, anything that would finally quiet that voice in your head that whispers, you're not enough. But the chase never ends, does it? Because the fear doesn't live in the world. It lives in you. And no trophy, no number on a scale, no flood of compliments will ever reach the place where that fear hides. Only you can go there. Only you can sit in that quiet moment and say, I'm tired of trying to earn something that was never supposed to be earned. Because your worth isn't a prize. It's a birthright. You were never meant to prove you're enough. You were meant to remember it. And remembering takes time. It takes unlearning everything the world taught you about hustle, image, and perfection. It takes rewriting the stories you've carried since childhood, the ones that told you love must be earned, and mistakes mean failure, and silence is safer than truth. But slowly, with grace, you start to change. You stop performing. You start breathing. You stop running. You start arriving in your own life fully. You stop asking, what do they want me to be? And start asking, what do I need to be free? And then, something quiet happens. You laugh without fear of how it sounds. You rest without guilt. You show up messy, honest, real. You finally see that you were never broken. Just burdened. And piece by piece, you let go of that burden. You put down the armor. You walk into the world not needing to be more, but ready to be fully you. And in that moment, the fear loses its power. Because you no longer believe its lie. You are enough. You always were. And now, you remember.